as we normally do it. Quarterback through punter offense, through defense. So getting it started at quarterback, we have 2 this year. First one being Owen Jones, 6'2", 210 out of Jinx. I want to thank Mr. Jones for the support there on Twitter/X. I appreciate that greatly, sir. He throws a beautiful deep ball with great touch. The best way I can describe Owen Jones, if you were here in 2021, is Keith Calhoun. Okay? It is Keith Calhoun to a T. Keith Calhoun, not the most athletic guy, much like Owen, maneuvers well enough in the pocket to escape pressure. Go back to 2021, the offensive line was not good. We just got to call it what it is, right? Keith rarely had a clean pocket, right? Again, Keith is not a burner. I'd venture to say, yeah, I mean, he right? So I got the same thing out of Owen, right? There was muddy pockets. He was able to wade through it. He steps up well, has great touch, has great pocket presence. Didn't see much of him getting rattled or scrambled there when the pressure was coming, right? But I think the thing that we must take the most note of is the deep ball, because we know that's been a sore spot for us really since Keith Calhoun left. I mean, you look at poor Jacob Delson. Mansfield probably had about 6-7 touchdowns the past couple of seasons if we were able to hit on the deep ball. He throws it with great touch. He throws it where there's not too much air under it. Like, there's enough air under it for the man to run under it, but there's also enough power and guide on it to lead him. We've had problems where it's either been like lame ducks out there, or we've guided it too much and put too much on it, and we haven't allowed guys like Delso to be able to properly run under it. It got better under Jet. Obviously, you can see with the several touchdowns that Will Davis had, right? So I'm glad, though, that Owen is able to throw what I believe is a really good deep ball. He fished the ball in the tight windows well. He goes to progressions extremely well. It doesn't get rattled when the first option is gone. The second option is gone, right? So I really like Owen Jones. I think this could be a very high caliber quarterback. We know Jet's a junior, right? We don't have... all the backups right now currently are freshmen, including the 2 signed, and then Clayton Creasy, the redshirt freshman out of Jones, since Connor Kirby has transferred to Coffeyville Community College. So I'm curious to see if we do bring in an experienced Seminole caller similar to how we did with Peyton Thompson in 2022. But regardless, I think long-term, I'm really high on Owen Jones. I really think he has Keith Calhoun level potential. And if you were here for Keith Calhoun when he was healthy, really good quarterback. The second quarterback we have is Jed Ross, 6'1", 200 from Decatur, Texas. Poor man's Will Collins is kind of what I deduced here. If you were here 2018, 2019, Will Collins, you saw the good and the bad, right? When it was good, 2018, it was really good, 6-1 as a starter. When it was bad, 2019, it was bad. Jed has a live arm. I'll give him that. It's a very good arm. I think he drives the ball extremely well. He goes through progressions well, too. I give him that. This isn't like a one-read guy. He will stand in there. He's very decisive, though, when he does decide that he wants to throw it. It also throws a good deep ball. I don't think it's as good as Owen's deep ball, but I think it's better than what we've seen just from the clips that I saw. Where I get concerned is he takes risks throwing into tight windows and not with his feet set. Those are things you can get away with at the high school level. But I'm telling you, as we saw sometimes with Jet and Dawson last year, that does not work in the MIAA. So we definitely have to clean that up. He kind of has I don't want to say it's like we could stand to tighten up the throwing motion too, right? It's not as quick, condensed as you want. I go back to Steph, look at Stephon Brown, 2022 to 2023, but before the shoulder injury, you could see a marked difference in his throwing motion. It was much quicker. It was much tighter in 2023. Go back to that Kearney game. You can watch that game in full. Under the Bronco Rewinds on the channel, the link below is in the description. Right, you can see a marked difference between that game and 2022 against Fort Hays when he threw for almost 400 yards. There was more zip on it. It was quicker. I think it got there faster. I think Jed could stand to have a similar thing happen to his. I think he'll be a solid quarterback, right? Again, when we're talking Will Collins, if we get 2018 Will Collins out of Jed, then we'll be fine, right? It's a fine balancing act that I think you're gonna have to adjust to if that's your play style at the collegiate level. But I think both are really good quarterbacks. I think both add value to the room. So I give a shout out there to Coach Beringstool for starting a really good class. At running backs, as you know, I mentioned before in the opener, we lost Coach Brooks. He left us with fantastic parting gifts. I must say that, because how in the world he was able to convince former Grove standout Emmanuel Crawford, 5'10", 175, Arkansas transfers as a preferred walk-on in Arkansas as a redshirt freshman. As you know, we had his teammate Carson Trimble from Grove back in 2023. He has since transferred to Pitt State. Now, we did lose Quincy Thompson to the portal. I was not surprised given how he was beat out by Dev Matthews there pretty much mid-season on, okay? But you look at the fact that, to my knowledge, we are returning our top three backs and Jalen Cottrell, Will Mason, and one Dev Matthews. How in the world we were able to convince Emmanuel Crawford to come to us, I don't know. I don't care. I appreciate it, because Emmanuel, I'm telling you right now, we know Jalen is unfortunately and finally a senior. I say that because it seems like he's been here for 80 years. It truly seems like man been here for 80 years, bro. It really does. And he could be here for 80 more as far as I'm concerned. Right, so we're going to need somebody to replace all Jalen does, right? We know the impact that he has in the pass game. Look at the wheel routes. Go back to Fort Hays on the scramble drill. He had that 37-yard touchdown catch, right? Emmanuel Crawford brings the same thing. You're watching the high school tape, right? You see him. He has the hands, really good in open field. I think he's a good enough route runner. You saw him split out wide there. I compared him to Jalen Cottrell. That's exactly what you're getting. Everything we see out of Jalen Cottrell, the elusiveness, the balance, the home run ability, the impact in the pass game, that is all what Emmanuel Crawford brings to the table. He also, and maybe most importantly, brings return ability. We do know Kobe Stevens, All-American return man, has unfortunately graduated, right? We're going to need somebody to take that spot, because we do know we were not, MIAA Champions, was not for Kobe Stevens on that punt return against Missouri Western. Just stuff of legends right there, right? So, we're right. He has a chance to immediately make an impact there. I don't know who we have to take over the running back room, because I don't know how we're going to manage 4 running backs. Ideally, right, I would not be opposed to if we redshirt Dev Matthews like I had thought we would do last year. That would be fantastic. Again, given that Jalen is a senior and Will Mason will be a junior, right? So we could preserve that year of eligibility would be fantastic. But regardless, right, Emmanuel's going to have a role. And this is very good, because Will did show something in the past game towards the end of the season, right? I'm not sure about Dev in the past game. I have to go back and watch more footage there. But when Jalen needs a breather, we can send in Emmanuel and still not change up the offense there, not lose that threat out of the backfield in the past game right there, right? And that is something that really helped us out. So this is a fantastic pickup. This is a day one impact guy. I'm really excited that we got Emmanuel Crawford. I truly am. This is a massive pickup for us. And so I want to give Coach Brooks, whoever was involved in recruiting of Emmanuel there, credit. Moving on to Marquise Harris, 5'9", 180 out of Lawton MacArthur. We've done a very good job lately of mining Lawton. The past couple of classes, we've gotten like anywhere from 5 to 7, 8 guys from Lawton. That's a very underrated area. When I filmed in high school, Mount St. Mary's used to be a 2A school. We used to play all the smaller Lawton area teams like your Fredericks, your Holberts, your Comanches, all of those. There's good talent in the Lawton area, so I'm glad that we're dipping into that there. He had over 1,400 yards and 20 touchdowns this year. Really reminds me of a smaller version. I say smaller height-wise. I think they were about the same weight of Dev Matthews. I mean, it's pretty much you're getting like a similar back here. If you're seeing the film, we had the video on the YouTube channel. Right, he runs bigger than 180 pounds. He's constantly trucking guys. Doesn't go down on first contact. What I really like though is he has an arsenal of moves. Right, some back at the high school level, you can overpower, which is what Will Mason was doing at Coweta. You could have like the finesse, the cuts, right? You could just be, I'm just fastening you. I'm gonna just hit the hole at full speed and I'm gone. What I like about Marquise is he has cuts, jukes, and spins already. That's very good. He's not just a one trick pony. I think he's gonna be more quick than fast at the collegiate level. We got to remember the speed difference here, right? So that's why I like the comp to Dev Matthews, right? I'm not opposed to having two Dev Matthews. I would like to have seen more what he can do in the pass game. I'm always curious to see about guys' hands. But I do think Marquise is a really good pickup. I do think he'll be a solid back for us. I think he definitely probably gets the red shirt. Gets a little bit stronger, but I like his compact frame as it is. So I do think that Marquise will be a very good back for us. Then the final running back out of Carl Albert is Terry Simmons, 5'7", 165. We were getting low on the Carl Albert quote here because Noah Dobson and Jonathan Mosley have graduated and Caleb Cornell is transferred, right? And of course, we can't just have a dearth of Carl Albert guys. So we've got a couple. Terry Simmons is the first one. Now, I reached out to my Carl Albert contact, proud alum, James D. Jackson, former MassCom alum as well, with 24/7 Sports covering OU. Man was no help, by the way. I just want to put that out. Man was no help. None. Bro, it's just tough, It's just tough. What I like about Terry, I really feel like he could be a better version of Peyton Scott. I know P. Scotty was derailed by injuries, right? But, I mean, you look at it, they're both smaller, compact backs. Terry's very slippery. I mean, he's very slippery, doesn't go down easily. He has tremendous balance. Might honestly had the best balance I've seen out of a UCO signee since Jace Gardner. Right, and so he's willing to lower the shoulder. I think he runs already bigger than 165, right? You like to think, man, you can redshirt him and get him up to what? 180, 185? I mean, at 5'7", that's like a rock. You know what I mean? I will say, I'm glad that he has hands. All right, this is very good. Go back to Peyton Scott. Go back to Kearney 2023. Right, who came up big clutch there in the past game was Peyton Scott. Go back to Central Missouri 2021. Who came up big in the past game? Peyton Scott. I think he has the same ability there too. I think he has more home run ability. I feel more confident in his home run ability than I do in Marquise. I'm still unsure 100%. I would just need to see it in person so I can give you a definitive answer. But I do think Terry is a very good back. I think he has a defined skill set. He could be, like I said, that Peyton Scott receiving back type of thing, right? And I know we've got Emmanuel, which is more of your control. Like, there's two different types of receiving backs. All right, your Jalen's and your Emmanuel's are your explosive, pretty much like hybrid, glorified, extra receiver type receiving backs. Terry and Peyton are more what I would call like your old school receiving backs. You're good check down backs, right? Like you have them leak out, run anywhere between 2 to 5 yards, right? You find them on a third down, the second and short, second and medium to convert the chains. I think Terry could offer something in the screen game too. I'm very high on him though. I think overall the high school signings are very good. I think both have a lot to like early, and you register to get them stronger. You keep developing them. I think they will be good backs. Do they become lead backs? That I don't know. But I do think that they would be good running backs for us. Moving on to wide receiver, we signed 3, and 2 of them, I'm telling you, are really good. Mason Easley, 5'10", 170, out of Frisco, Texas, Reedy High School. I'm telling you right now. Different of the podcast, Jacob Delso has graduated. I'm glad the man had the year that he had. Right, we know the impact that the man had. We don't beat Ouachita Baptist if it was not for Delso's two touchdowns there. We don't beat Washburn if it was not for his punt return and 2-point conversion. Right, the man's come up big for us. Mason Easley is a spitting image of Jacob Delso. Like, are you watching the tape? And I'm telling you, it is Jacob Delso to a T. He's not afraid to make the tough catch. He's willing to go across the middle and make said tough catch. Made several sideline catches a la Jacob Delso, right? He's good in finding the hole in zone. Again, a la Jacob Delso, right? Like, what you're seeing is literally seeing Jacob Delso, right? I think even down to the speed aspect, right? I don't think he's a home run guy, which is fine. I mean, I feel like we have those. But in terms of your possession receiver, your zone beater, your chain mover, Mason Easley can be that guy. Like, I truly believe. I don't know if he sees the field early. I'm not sure, what we see more out of Christian Romero or Ben Harmon, or a Calcius CJ Williams, right, or a Jaden Gray or a Hagen Hacker, right? Like, we've got younger guys in that room of Gavin Cunningham. I don't know, right, the leaps that they take. So I don't know if he plays early. I'm just telling you right now, I really feel like he can have a defined role sooner rather than later. You would like him to gain maybe 10 more pounds, right? I just get literally in our conference, as you know, it's a very physical conference. So, but I'm really high on Mason. I think he has a very bright future in a UCO uniform. Then we have Talon Holmes, 6'2", 170, out of Hazlet, Texas, VR Eaton High School. What immediately jumps off to you, beside the size, he had 4 D1 offers. So to get this man right there again is very telling. I know this is not the first that we won over D1 schools, but again, you're getting an out-of-state guy for the 3rd straight year. out of the state of Texas that had D1 offers and chose to come play in Edmond is very telling. Okay, that is very telling. I hope we just don't lose sight of that. 50-50 ball guy, I really think is in the mold of a Madison Ridgeway. You know how deeply I love Madison Ridgeway. Again, shout out to the Ridgeway family. I appreciate their support over the years. Right, again, I always circle back to his Fort Hays game in 2022. Go back to Pitt State this past year. Go back to Northeastern State this past year, right? If he could have stayed healthy, I think what we're seeing on the film out of town is exactly what we would have saw out of Madison in the USO uniform. Right, he's tall, he's rangy, he's willing to make the tough catch to go across the middle. 50-50 ball guy. Right, you're seeing several 50-50 catches here. Go back to the NSU touchdown this year with a jump ball that Madison won. Right, he's got good frame, explosive. He plays with the edge. Some guys you can tell can play with the edge. Contested catch artist. He's a willing blocker, which you have to do to play for Coach Curley, obviously. So all the tools are there. All tools are there, and I'm gonna be honest with you here. I'm going to be 100% honest with you here. Again, we have to wait to see what they bring in the offseason in terms of the portal, because I'm sure they will bring in some more guys. But it's going to be tough to keep him off the field. I'm just saying, I at least would expect him to play in the 3 games. I would firmly expect that, because we seem to have done that every year. I just would not be surprised if he's one of these dudes that red shirt just gets burned. What you're seeing there, it is similar to what I was seeing, and it's two completely different play styles because Lillian Curry is not Madison Ridgeway. But in terms of tape and like special ability, I saw similar vibes watching that Terrell Davis tape out of Choctaw. Right, and we've seen what Terrell Davis has become. I think Taylor is more polished than what Terrell was coming out of high school, which Terrell has, admitted himself. Right, he only played 1 year. So I think it's going to be very tough to keep the man off the field. If I'm being 100% honest here, but I think the future is very, 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 very bright there. I think we have all conference potential. 100%. Then the final receiver we have is Christian, I hope I say this man's last name right, Valerano, 6'5", 180, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Myrtle Beach High School, Wagner Junior College. He is a junior. I'm going to say this right now. Obviously, the size right there will make him, I think, our biggest receiver we've had in my time covering. I don't remember us having a 6'5" receiver. Christian Romero vibes, essentially, like you're pretty much watching a spitting image of Christian Romero. We see Christian Romero, when presented with opportunities, has made the most of it, in my honest opinion. So to have 2 of them, I think it's fantastic, because when you look in the red zone, listen, if we can throw out Dom Dunn, we can throw out Romero's, 6'4". It's funny too that they're both named Christian. The other Christian is 6'5", right? Like that. I mean, that's just some size there, and especially if we have Cottrell at 6'2" in the backfoot. I mean, like that's fantastic, right? What I like about him, he's long and rangy, nimble, does a good job of using his body to block out defenders. Sometimes bigger body receivers do not do that. I never understood why. It's almost like boxing out for a rebound in basketball, right? Like, you have the frame, you just got to get position, get in front, because they're going to either have to go over the back of you, draw pass interference, right? Or you just have to not make the play. So I really think here this is a red zone threat. I truly do. There's a lot you can do with this man as well. Like I said, just because the way he uses his body to block out, it just screams Christian Romero. It just truly does. And so I think this is a day one impact guy. How much impact? I do not know. Like, I feel like he'll have a niche role, a defined role, maybe closer to the red zone, right? But I do think he will definitely boost that receiving room that is losing Jacob Delso and Madison Ridgeway. Moving on to tight end, we got one Darren Nickerson, 6'2", 200 out of Frisco, Texas, by way of Reedy High School, so a teammate of Mason Easley. Darren strikes me as more of an H-back than a true tight end. He's not Dom Dunn in that respect, because Dom Dunn was Dante McGee 2.0 and is Dante McGee 2.0. Darren, to me, is... I don't know if there's a true comparison in my time covering UCO that would be adequate. I mean, you could say Daxton Williams back in 2017, 2018. I mean, you could say that. Like, that would be my best comparison, although Daxton was like 265 or 275. What I like about him, though, obviously, I think we redshirt, we get him stronger. I do like the blocking already. He's definitely physical. I thought he held his own against bigger linebackers and linemen than his 200 pounds would show. He's really versatile. Like, he's a good receiving threat. You said they split him out wide some, so he's like a weird. Because he's not an Oscar Hammond type, and he's not a Dom Dunn type, in my opinion, because it's just... So I don't know where he falls. I don't have a good use of comparison. I just truly don't. Like, I think he's like broken the mold. The best I could say is like, if he's used like we used Andrew Carney back in 2022, might be the best way, because we use Andrew Carney in a variety of ways, and we did it more last, which I appreciate, in the backfield, out wide, as a tight end, right? And if you're looking at that tight end room, I mean, we do need some more receiving tight ends in there. Dom Dunn is indeed a senior, right? I know we've got Braden Turner played some as a true freshman last year, and then we've got Zane Zilney off a red shirt, right? But as far as like, I feel like those are more true tight ends, right? Where Dom is still more of an H-back. That's what he was recruited for. And I think Darren can fit that role. I think we get him 20, 25 pounds heavier, right? Because, I mean, because again, you have to account for the physicality of the conference. And obviously, Andrew Carney is a different cat because he made the move as a true freshman from quarterback to fullback. Right? So, I mean, it's definitely possible, but, you know, I would just like that. But I think Darren has a very bright, future here. I think he would have a defined role in that tight end room. So shout out there to Coach Roberts, the tight end coach there, for getting a versatile weapon. Moving on to the offensive line, probably my favorite part of the offensive unit. I'm not gonna lie to you here. We know we lost Noah and Hayden to graduation, right? I know Javier Mendez transferred. Right, we know Montrell Lee's a senior. We know Robert Givens is a senior. We know Matt Gardner's a senior. We also lost Reese to transfer. Right, Gabe is now a junior, as is Mason Mitchell. Right, so we're getting up there in terms of age in the offensive line. So I'm glad that we did focus on that, similar to the defensive line. The first offensive lineman is Jackson Allison, 6'5", 254, out of Hobart. Again, Lawton Area School, like I just pointed out. Tremendous frame, all right? I mean, you can already just state he could stand to add, 20, 30 more pounds and still be fine. Very agile, fires off the ball extremely well. I think he's definitely athletic enough to pull. Right, we know Noah Dobson at 340 was just a fantastic at pulling, right? Is he that athletic? I don't think so, but I can tell you with certainty that he can indeed pull and pull well. He does get to the second level quickly. I'll give him that, but even if he doesn't always hit anybody when he gets there, we'd like to be able to put a hat on a hat, once we do that though. I do like his mentality. He's definitely physical. He definitely has a good motor. Really strikes me when I was watching the tape, reminded me of Robert Givens when he came out of Anadarko, right? Robert's tape was similar. There were times when he looked really dominant, and you're like, all right, see, this is a high caliber all-conference player. And there was other times when he didn't. Saying I was like, see, we're gonna have to consistently get, the dominant sign, right? And it took a handful of years. But Robert was all-conference guard last year, right? So I think Jackson's on the same trajectory there. I think we've got to get consistency. I think all the tools are there. The frame is there. The motor is there. The athletic ability is definitely there. If we just get the dominance every snap instead of maybe every couple of snaps, I really like what he has to offer. I think Coach Doral and crew will make the most out of it because I truly believe, similar to Robert, he has the tools to be a good MIAA lineman. The next lineman is Caden Cole, 6'3", 270 out of Sulphur, so already like the frame and the size. Solid leg drive when run blocking. He puts defenders on the ground quick, which you greatly appreciate. What I appreciate more though is if he's not able to do that within the first handful of seconds, he will just move the defenders away from the hole, and that's fantastic because so many times, and that might have been the case last year, right? We've seen runs stifled, not because the defender is making the play, but because the lineman has not moved the defender out of the hole, right? He does a very good job of moving them out of the hole, enabling the back to hit it. So I truly do appreciate that. You do not see that. You do not see that a whole lot at the high school level, right? I think that's a very good sign right there. I really like him in pass pro. I would like to have seen more. Most of what the film showed was a lot of runs. But I think he might honestly be better in pass pro. I mean, he was stonewalling guys. I think this is a solid Matt Gardner replacement. Like I truly do. It reminded me a lot of Matt Gardner. He might be more athletic than Matt Gardner, which would be good because we know Matt does kind of struggle with the speed rushers. But I think this is a guy that you definitely redshirt. You get stronger. I know he's 270, but you get in the weight room there. I think will be a solid tackle that should be in the rotation sooner rather than later. We have Hudson Hamilton, 6'3", 285 out of Lubbock, Texas, by way of Lubbock Cooper High School. I can only find the junior tape on his huddle page, so that's what I had to go off of. I will say this: he can pull and he can get out on screens, which is very good. That is very good because we pull our guards a lot. Go back, watch Montrell, watch Robert, watch Reese when he was in there. Like, we pull our guards a lot. So the fact that he can pull is very good. Now, what I don't like is it takes him a little bit longer than you want at times, taking down a smaller defender. I needs to get stronger. I truly think he needs to get stronger. I know he's 285, but I'm not seeing 285 strength, right? When we're looking in pass pro, I think he can be solid in pass pro because he does do a good job of mirroring the defender, right? Like, he'll get out of his stance and not necessarily attack the pass rusher until he kind of sees where they're going, and then he engages, which I do like. The problem is there was some clips where he gave up a lot of ground, too much ground for a guy that's 285, right? So I think, right, you redshirt we get him stronger, I think the weight room will be his best friend. But I like all the tools. I like the athletic ability. I like the physicality. I like the motor. I like the mirroring and pass protection. If we just can get stronger there, right? I think we have a quality tackle. I truly do. But I just think it might, I don't want to say a few years, but he definitely could use a redshirt season. But I do like what Hudson has to offer. Then we have a hometown kid here, Parker Howell, 6'3", 290 out of Edmond Memorial. I'm just going to call it right now. I'm going to say this right now. Reese transferred. Reese is my boy. We'll be seeing him when we played Northwest Missouri. I legitimately was like, all right, I'm watching Reese Trammell 2.0 here because the first clip is insane. The first clip is insane, bro. It's just sort of, that first clip is crazy. But in my honest opinion, I feel like he could play right now. I truly do. He gets defenders on the ground quickly. He's definitely nasty. He's definitely physical. Really stout in pass protection. Little to no ground was given up. The ceiling to me is all conference. Like I don't see why he couldn't take Noah's spot as a perennial all conference tackle. Like I truly don't. Like if I had to make a comp, Tyler Stillwell and or Noah Hammonds-esque. Like I mean, if you're watching this man in pass pro, it is immaculate. There is literally no movement. If there is, it's very little. Right? I like the way. I like his motor. I like that he's nasty. I like him in the run game. The ceiling to me is extremely high. The ceiling to me is extremely high. I don't know if he plays. We do have a bunch of guys off redshirt if they are still here. I'm just saying right now, though. Just saying this right now. It's going to be very tough to keep him off the field at a certain point because you just look at what he has to offer. I'm more so in the pass blocking. Like that's something. Go back to that Washburn game. It was not good from the tackle spot. Okay, so like that we can stand to improve there, right? And I think Parker will go a long way to those efforts. Then we have Ross Johnston, 6'6", 300 out of Blanchard. So again, the frame is just fantastic. I like the frames that we're getting here. It's resembling more. Go back to that Pitt State episode, right? I said that's where I feel like the gap is still kind of lying between us. And again, I think this class is going a long way towards fixing that. The only highlights I could find was him mainly on defense, so I will probably need to see more before I can give a full breakdown. What I can tell you though is he's definitely athletic enough to get down on screens, which is very good. And if you have a guy that's that size already that can move like that, I mean, you 300-pound man coming burning down on you at full speed is a very scary sight. I just need to see more. I just need to see more tape of him on the offensive line to give you a full breakdown. But what I can tell you is guys of his size and his athletic ability don't grow on trees. So the tools are there. I mean, I think that's just natural given. Tools are there. I'm just curious to see what the blocking looks like, how he develops over time. Then we have William Ominski, 6'2", 260, from Laredo, Texas, by way of John B. Alexander High School. Pulls extremely well. This is fantastic. It's fantastic. I honestly think he's better at guard. It just Similar to how Montreal Lee was a tackle at Del City and was moved to guard, right? There's a similar length. So I think a similar move might be better for him. What I do like about him a whole lot is he does a good job of switching on and off defenders, right? Sometimes the lineman can get confused between stunts and twists, just in the mangled body that is, playing in the trenches. Though he does a good job of identifying who to pick up and when to pick up, when to drop off, who to drop off. Right, you don't see that either sometimes. But the fact that he has that is very, very good. He gets to the second level well. What I will say remind me a lot of Mason Mitchell in terms of he's not a put you in the dirt guy. He's more of a move you out of the hole guy, which is fine. We all love pancakes, but at the end of the day, is the hole open? That's really all you need to care about, right? So I like what William brings to the table. To me, it's the fact that he pulls well and he knows when to switch on and off defenders, right? I think that you should be most excited about. Like I said, I'm curious to see if he stays at tackle or if we kick him to guard. But either way, I think we have a solid lineman here that should be a part of that offensive line rotation. After a redshirt season and some time in the weight room. Then we have the first transfer on the offensive line, a more native. Thank you. it just was getting scary, man. It's getting scary. I mean, we was down to what, Mac and Kazin at this point. I know, and then Noah Marley as well. But I mean, and it was getting scary though. Like we were kind of running out of more players, and obviously Buckeyes graduated. So, I'm glad that Jax Rumsey, 6'3", 300 from Moore High School by way of Missouri State. He is a sophomore. You're seeing his high school tape. Big, nasty, and physical. I was impressed by the pass pro clips more than the run clips. To be honest, which again is fine. I mean, again, we're losing two high caliber pass blockers in Noah and Hayden, so we do need somebody to immediately come in there and take that spot. I think that'll be a strength, right? He should definitely be in the tackle rotation. Like, I don't see why he wouldn't. I think you bring in a guy like him for that very reason. I think there is a lot to like there. I think he's probably stronger than what he's showing on the high school tape. Just given a couple of years at Missouri State, a couple of years in the collegiate weight room has probably made some differences there. So I like what he brings to the table. Again, this should be a guy that should be in the rotation. I don't have a qualm right now about him being out there. I mean, we obviously would need to, see him when he's out there. But I feel like this is a good rotational tackle. That's kind of how the gist of it. I'm more happy that he's a Moore guy, kind of where I was at on this. Then we have our first center, De'Mondre Tasby, the second, 6'2", 280 out of Melissa, Texas. Melissa High School. Shout out there to Mr. Tasby Sr. for the follow on Twitter/X. I appreciate that, sir. Reminded me a lot of Kellen Culberson. And I felt like Kellen Culberson, despite the inconsistent playing time, I thought he was always solid when he was in there. He fires off the ball well, right? He's very good in pass pro. Very good pad level. I mean, very good pad level. I mean, it is fantastic pad level. He does not give up ground on pass pro, right? Which is very important. He's similar to William, right? Switches on and off defender as well. He does a good job of moving defenders out of the hole quickly if he's unable to get them on the ground, which he does a good amount of the time. I really just like his overall game. To me, he's a complete center. He's equally good in the pass and the run game. I may be more impressed by the pass blocking, to be honest with ourselves here, because that pad level is just so good. At 280, he already has the size where he could play now. With Reese gone, I'm not sure who the other center is behind Gabe Grazer at this point in time. I felt like one of the ones signed last year was a center, right? But so there could be a path forward to him being on the two deep. I'm just not entirely sure there because if you recall last year, neither Gabe or Reese were centers, right? And so there is a chance other guys could get moved. I'm telling you though, right now, I really like Namondre Tasby II. I feel like even if he's not, going to play this year, I think the ceiling is really high. I also think there's no reason why we couldn't do to him like we did to Kellen and also have him play some guard as well. I think he'll be too good is what I'm trying to get to here to keep out of the rotation sooner rather than later. Because he's technically sound and he just does a lot. He does a lot well. I'm very impressed. I truly am very, very, very impressed. Then we have Joe Warner, 6'2", 252 at a Lawton MacArthur. I'll tell you right now, I'm getting Montrell Lee vibes. Yeah, I'm getting straight up Montrell Lee vibes. He fires off the ball quickly, nasty and physical with the high motor and mean streak, puts and keeps defenders on the ground. When run blocking switches on and off defenders well. I know I keep saying this, but that's vitally important. Go back to Washburn. Go back to the first half of the Washburn game, and you will see why why I keep harping on this. He moves feet well, especially in pass pro. I was very impressed with that. He was able to reset himself extremely well. He keeps defenders in front of him. Again, like I said, we know Montrell's a senior. I feel like we redshirt him. He can gain 20 pounds, 20, 30 more pounds. The sky's the limit. Like I'm not seeing why we couldn't be an all-conference guy. It's just the tape is so good. Tape is so good. So good. So I think Joe has a really high ceiling here. I was expecting to be in the rotation following a redshirt season. I do know Coach Doral prefers the redshirt, the offensive lineman, just to get that year in the weight room, especially at 252. But I definitely think that there's a lot to like about Joe. Then we have the final lineman, Kenneth Wormy, 6'5", 300 from Cash, a OU transfer, preferred walk-on who is a sophomore. You're seeing the high school tape. Again, similar to Jack, should be in the rotation, right? He has a really great frame, obviously. I think he's better in pass pro than he is in the run game, which again is fine. I mean, if you look at our run game under Coach Doral, the majority of runs are between the tackles anyways. It's between the guards and the centers. Sure, Jalen might bounce outside, but it doesn't start there. So I'm fine with most of these tackles being better in pass pro. I mean, but the majority of the sacks, maybe half are from tackles, so I'm not opposed to that. But I think this is a guy, again, day one rotational guy, might be able to come in there and compete for a starting job, seeing how we did lose 2 tackles, and then I think some lower guys also might have transferred too. So definitely opportunities there for Kenneth to carve out a role from day one. Moving on to defensive line, and I gotta say this, I'm gonna say this right now. Definitely the best defensive line class signed since 2020. That was the class that brought us Hunter Larger and Zane Adams. So if that's telling you anything, then we got some different cats. First up is Caleb Chappell, 6'1", 226 from Jones. I'm telling you right now, I have not seen a guy of his build be this twitchy or explosive since Montrell Cozart's tape when he came out of Bishop Kelly in 2020 as well. I want to say it was. Yeah. He reminds me of Isaiah Major, Noah West, and Eli Hooks. Now you're probably saying, if you've been following UCO for seven plus years, two of those are similar players, one is not. Now, the Eli Hooks is because that's the Eli Hooks build. But Noah and Isaiah, I think that's the way that he'll be used. More of a stand-up edge rusher. At Jones, he was used stand-up with the hand in the dirt as an end and tackle. I think he'll be a stand-up guy for us there. Violent and quick off the ball. He has a really good swim move. I'm glad, because sometimes guys don't have moves because they just overpower or too quick off the snap. Physical, hard hitter. I think he shoots the gaps well. He breaks down well when tackling. And you can if you're coming in there way too fast, you can over pursue. That's not a problem for him. I think the ceiling is very high here. I truly think the ceiling is very high. What I would say is, I feel the same way about him as I felt about Reese Roller when he came out of Verdigris. I feel like there's similar type of players there. I know Reese is a true linebacker, but like in terms of the stand-up rushing ability, that is something that really stuck out to me there. And we have a dearth, I feel like, of those Noah West type stand-up rushers, because to me, the fact that we had Ethan Stites, who to me was a true linebacker. I forget which game it was. Is it the Fort Hays game? One of the blowouts, we had him play that role. So it's telling me right there, we have a need in that stand-up pass rushing role. So I think there's a really good chance that Caleb Chappell can carve out a role there. And so I'm curious to see what he does. I'm not sure if he plays year one or not. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm telling you right now, if he does, I'm not surprised. Moving on, we have Drake DeVore, 6'3", 250 from Collinsville. That's been a very good pop line for us. Oscar Hammond, Andrew Carney, right? And so we've got a couple of more. I think, yeah. So, I would say I almost wondered, the more I was watching the tape, if he'd be better at tackle. I think he has the frame to be a tackle. Like, he's only 250, but remember, Zane Adams was, I think, 257 coming out of high school. So, like, it's not crazy to think you redshirt that he couldn't become a tackle. It just watching it, I feel like I felt like two things. I felt like one, well, actually a few things. I felt like he could be a 3-down lineman. I think he's good enough to be in there on passing downs. He reminded me of a less athletic version of Wesley Hudson, which is why I'm saying I'm wondering if he's better as a tackle. Because there's a lot to like there. I mean, he's got a really good motor and effort. He plays on top of the whistle, fights through traffic, disengages from blocks well, right? What you would like to see improvement on is tackling. He goes kind of high. You would like to see better form there. But I think that this is a guy that you redshirt to get him stronger. Definitely should be a part of the rotation sooner rather than later. I'm just curious if he sticks at defensive end In my heart, I just feel like he might be better inside. I know we do play 3-3-5, so the end spot is different than it would be in like a 4-3 or 4-2-5. But I still just wonder though, because to me Wesley's a 3-3-5 or 3-4 in. Like that to me, Wesley, he's 260, but he's got more athleticism, more to offer in passing downs than what I'm seeing out of Drake, which is why I'm saying I wonder if he's better inside. But regardless, I think we have a good lineman that should be a part of the defensive line rotation sooner rather than later. Next, we have Ezekiel Duncan, 6'3", 310, from Valdosta, Georgia, Lowndes High School by way of Highland Community College. He is a junior, I'm telling you right now, day one space eater. We are losing Hunter and Zane. I know we do have Braden Smith back, but I think if we're looking at a day one possible nose guard spot, Ezekiel's there. I mean, he's your classic nose guard, right? Definitely a two-down lineman. He's not going to be in there on passing downs, but he holds the point of attack well. He commands a double team. He splits the center and guards well. He's stout. He does not give up ground. He takes up space. He's everything that you want and need in a nose guard. So, again, I would suspect this is a day one guy, part of the rotation. Might even push for that starting nose guard spot, but I think this is a much needed pickup there because we were kind of wondering as well. Losing Hunter and Zane, right? We knew Brandon was next in line, but like outside of that, who did we have? So I think Duncan is a really good pickup. Then we have Magnus Golden. First of all, what a great name. 6 foot 248 out of Russellville, Arkansas, Russellville High School. So, like I said, the first Arkansas signing, high school out of Arkansas since Brock Barris in 2018. I'm telling you right now, and I say this because it's like, I'm not saying that because the more I think about it now, that might not have been the best comp. The way I comp it is he could be a more explosive Eli Hooks. You were here 2017, 2018, Eli Hooks from Deer Creek. Shout out, man, Eli Hooks, by the way. First player I ever interviewed for the podcast, by the way. He was 6'1", 235 out of Deer Creek. Was very good. I mean, it made no sense because of his. I mean, he was so good though. He was so good. Go back to 2018, Central Missouri. He had the game-winning sack right there. That's fantastic. But Magnus plays bigger than 248. He blocked the kick, so we have special teams ability. He was also a fullback and tight end, so we know, number one, he has the athletic ability. Number two, he has some hands. So I don't know if we drop in coverage or not, but I'm just saying this. If we do, it's there. He's very explosive. He's very good at finding the gaps and attacking them quickly. There's just a lot to like. He breaks down well when tackling. Again, like I said, sometimes you're coming in there fast. There's a potential to over pursue. He doesn't do that. So there's a lot to like about Mr. Golden there. I think you redshirt. I think you get him a little bit stronger, right? I mean, I think we get him a little bit stronger. I think, especially on passing downs, for sure, could really have a defined role. I truly believe on that. On the third and longs, the passing situations here, he could have a defined role, throwing him out there at defensive end. But I do like what we have in Mr. Golden. Now, my favorite lineman that we signed. Okay, and I'm telling you, I saw the first clip, and I could have stopped right there. But I didn't. I kept watching, and the more I watched, the more I said, I am looking at Robert Fuentes 2.0. That is one Edwin Gonzalez Salas, 6'4", 235 from Caddo Mills, Texas, Rockwall High School. It is literally like watching Robert Fuentes. There's no other way to describe it. You were here in 2021, 2022. You know Robert Fuentes, the impact he's made in a UCO uniform is the same exact thing that you're seeing. Tremendous frame. He's got the length. He's explosive. He's violent. The energy, the motor is just off the charts. He splits double team extremely quickly. He disengages quickly and very easily, fights through traffic. There is no quit. I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you 100% right now. I truly feel we'll be seeing Edwin Gonzalez Salas in the rotation, depending on the pickups in the offseason. Because I feel like he's too good. I feel like he's physically ready now. Sure, you could say, okay, yeah, he could probably add 15 more pounds. Remember, Rob was about 240 when he came in from Snow College. Okay, and in the first game in 2021, what did he do on 3 straight downs? Provide a quality pass rush that helped seal the deal. Okay, like it just is so good. The tape is really good. Like this is a special player. I truly believe this is a special player. Like there's nothing that I'm seeing in this tape that is telling me otherwise, that this is not at a minimum, honorable mention all conference guy. Like high ceiling wise, man, first team all conference. I mean, it's just it's so good. It's, mind you, I saw this tape at like midnight, and I've been up since 5:30. Okay. It jumped. It jumps at you, and when a tape jumps at you, usually in my case, and I say this, it's tough to keep them off the field, and I feel like that's the case for Edwin Gonzalez Salas. Just do not be surprised if you're seeing this man be a staple in the rotation, and I mean sooner, sooner than later. Then we have Chris Goodman, 6 foot, 250 from Collinsville as well. Also high on him. He's basically a less athletic version of Zane Adams. I mean, if you're watching the tape, you're pretty much seeing Zane Adams, but without the athleticism. Great effort and hustle, no quit, high motor, physical. Fights all blocks well, especially getting inside of the tackles. Now, this is something that I do appreciate. A lot of the time, it's dependent on speed. It's dependent on brute strength. I like how he uses leverage to get inside of guys. I truly do. And that's the sign of a crafty player right there. And I think with more development, right, if we get him a dip, a swim, a swipe, a chop, right? With that craftiness, I think you have a very underrated guy. I think you redshirt. I think you redshirt, but I feel like if the development is there, I feel like if we get, like I said before, a dip, move, a swim, a chop, whatever, I think 2026, there's no reason why he couldn't be a part of the rotation. I feel like he's really close, right? I just feel like with the athletic limitations, you're going to need more, he's going to need more technical refinement, but I think the start is already there. So I'm very high on Chris Goodman. Again, I'm curious to see with that build at 6 foot 250, do we keep him at end? Do we move him inside? Becomes the question. And that I'm not entirely sure of, but I do think we have a very good lineman here that will be solid. Sure, he might not be explosive. He might not be like otherworldly, but he will be a very good rotational lineman. Noble Librand is a very good comp as well in terms of impact. Noble Librand from, I think he was from, I know he was from Del City, but I think he went to, was it OCS, CHA, something like that. He was a very solid lineman. Like, he was not splashy. He didn't make a lot of splash plays, but I'm telling you, when you put him in there, he did his job. And at the end of the day, for a rotational lineman, that's really all you're kind of asking for. Then we have Darius Hampton, 6'3", 240 from Del City, by way of Dodge City Community College. He's a junior, so I know Montreal is glad to get another glad to get another Del City Eagle in there. I know it's tough sledding with the Colorado crew in there. I think this is a day one guy. Honestly, would not be surprised if he moves into the Noah West pass rushing role right there. What jumped at you was, sorry, from the frame, several block kicks. Again, we're losing Zane, right? We know he blocked some kicks, right? What I like about him is he splits double teams well. I mean, extremely well. He's a natural pass rusher. I mean, you're seeing the tape. That's just a natural pass rusher. He's got great burst off of the snap. I think he has some moves there too, which will help. He's a high energy guy. They used him with the stand up and hand in the dirt, which is fine. We did that with Noah West some. I think he's better as a stand up to be honest, especially when you're able to split double teams to that degree. So I think this is a guy that day one, the minimum on passing downs, you're putting him in there. I mean, he's a high motor pass rusher. You look at the frame right there; it's almost what like Isaiah Major became once he went to JUCO and FAMU, right? Like, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. And again, that's very important because Noah West had a tremendous impact on our success. So, we can get a guy where we can get little to no drop off in that same role. We'll go a long way. The final lineman is Louis Jones, 6'1", 282 at a Mustang. So you already have the nose guard Hunter Largent build right there. He had 6 sacks, 13 TFLs, 53 tackles as a nose guard. Again, that's Hunter Largent right there. Like, that's similar numbers to what he gave us last year. Fights through traffic and double teams well. He's really stout right there. Handles double teams well. I think he's more athletic than what you think. Is he Hunter level? No. But I mean, you don't have to be Hunter level to still be a really good nose guard. He does have a good spin move already, which is very good. Again, the more moves you have coming in, the better. Doesn't quit on the play. I think he's a solid tackler with big hit ability. I think given the fact that we got Ezekiel Duncan in there might buy time for us to possibly redshirt the man. I still think he probably plays in the 3 games. I think right. I mean, if we put Brandon Smith in there, Louis probably a step below that, but I don't think like he couldn't get some playing time early. I think the future's bright. I think though you redshirt, we get him stronger so he can hold up better to the point of attack and the MIAA. But I like the frame. I like the motor. I like that he already has a spin move there. I think we have a really good nose guard, especially if we continue to run the 3-3-5. We need to develop some depth there at that nose guard spot for sure. That's something that I felt like we've kind of lacked there. I mean, we noticed how we did at the move. It's like we still well inside for a period of time, right? Like we do need to develop more depth there on the interior. So I think Louis Jones goes a long way for that. Then we have Kane Lampkin, 6'2", 240 out of Washington. Pretty much, if you remember Nathan Spaulding last year from Washington, his former teammate, very similar players. He's maybe just be a little bit less athletic than what Nathan is. But he's physical. He's got a good frame. He's a hard hitter, stout against the run, fights through traffic well. He can stand and develop more moves, which is fine. Again, I mean, it's just, I can see him being in the rotation at some point. I don't know if this is a 3-down guy. Again, he's really good against the run. So, like, I don't know. I don't know if this is a 3-down guy or not. But I do know at least on running downs. I mean, he's, like I said, he's very good. He's very good. He finds the ball carrier well. Doesn't quit. He's physical. He's exactly what you need and a run-stopping defensive lineman. And again, it's fine if these dudes are not every down linemen. Like, that's probably fine. We see edge rushers get paid millions of dollars every year to solely rush the passer. So, like, this is not that big of a deal. I think he'll be a solid lineman for us for sure. Then we have Shea Spencer, 6'1", 250 out of Elgin. Again, I feel like could also move inside, but again, has the build of a 3-3-5 end. Does a really good job using his hands and spin move. I was very impressed by that. That is almost an advanced level to a certain extent. You would like to see him tackle better. He goes high at times. Like to see him go lower. But he has a high motor. He's very explosive, very, very, very violent. He chases the ball carrier down. There is no quit in this man. I think he has a high ceiling. Like I truly do. Especially with the advanced moves that he already has. Right? I think you redshirt, you get him stronger. I think he could be. I think he has the ability to be a 3-down lineman. That I truly do. But no, I mean, there's just a lot to like. There is a lot to like about Shea Spencer here. I think he will have an impact sooner rather than later. Then the final lineman, I said that earlier, and I forgot. I did not scroll down on my notes. Is Hayden Stoll, 6'3", 235 for more. You love to see it. You truly love to see it. From Moore High School. I'm going to tell you right now. Reminds me of Draquan Brown. If you were there in 2019, Draquan Brown, the Northern Illinois transfer, he was a linebacker. We moved him down, I think, midway through the season because the pass rush was just terrible. He had 6.5 sacks, a couple of forced fumbles in the last 5 games of the season. I'm seeing the exact same thing out of Hayden Stoll. He attacks the ball well. He's strong for a player of his size. I mean, he's literally overpowering tackles at the 6'8" level. That's very impressive. But he does attack the ball well. There were several forced fumbles when he came off the edge. He went directly at the ball and forced fumbles. That is fantastic. That is truly fantastic. He wades through traffic well, disengages well. Most importantly to me, go back to Missouri Western, go back to Kearney. We had trouble defending the speed options there on the edge. He on the clips of him defending the read option, it was fantastic eye discipline right there. Read the play correctly and made the tackle. We do need more of that. That's very encouraging. He has a high motor, high effort. To me, this is an all-conference guy. I don't see any reason I'm seeing why that could not be the case, especially if you redshirt and get him stronger. I think, again, It could carve out a role on passing downs. We are losing Marcus Sol. I think we overlook the impact Marcus had on passing downs. Again, he didn't always get the sack, but look at the pressure that he provided right there, right? We are indeed losing that. We still need pass rushers. I think Hayden Stoll has a very good chance. Has a very good chance to be a really good pass rusher. I don't know if it'll be now. Just knowing more players, I wouldn't be surprised if he ekes his way onto the field. But regardless, I think we have a high-grade pass rusher for years to come. Moving on to linebacker, Coach Jesse Hall's unit just did, yes. You just can't say enough about the job the man has done. He signed 3 this year. First one is Reese Burton, 6'2", 200 out of Elk City. According to his huddle page, 4.59 speed. Okay, that's good enough. Remind me of Connor Johnson. He might not be as long as Connor Johnson is, but the 4.5 speed, most of the tape was him on offense, so we know he does have hands, but he's a physical downhill thumper. I think he has the ball and coverage skills to be sufficient enough in coverage. Now, will he be Connor Johnson level in coverage? I would need to see more tape on that. But I definitely seeing a lot of similarities to Connor. The downhill play style, what he can offer in coverage, the way he fights through traffic. I think this is a guy that honestly, the way that we've used freshman linebackers on kickoff units and punt units, he could continue that trend, to be honest. Remember, Reese and Kazin earned stripes there as freshmen on kickoff units. I think Reese Burton could do the same thing. I truly do. I think this is a guy, if the coverage is sufficient enough, I think could be in a Connor Johnson type coverage linebacker role, even though Connor's also really good and a lot of other things. But like he could kind of take on that role down the road. Then we have Whelan Carson, 6'4", 200 out of Perry, so the length already. Remind me a lot of Colton Lindsay, 2017, 2018. Colton Lindsay, absolute beast from CHA. I remember we played him in high school. He was, I think, like 6'4", maybe 210 at that time. He was a quarterback and linebacker for CHA. I think when he finished, he was 240, right? So obviously with that 6'4" frame, you can add weight to it. What concerns me the most is he's got, according to his huddle page, 4.7 speed. All right, now that's not great. We got to call it what it is. Okay, that's not great for a every down lineman, right? And so this is why I'm saying I worry about the coverage, because in the tape the coverage looks good. I just worry about it at this level. That's my concern. However, I do believe in the run game, though, it's fantastic because he's definitely see ball, get ball, really good going downhill. Solid tackler. I think if we get stronger, we get some more weight. I think some of those tackles that you're seeing him struggle with, I think just become a thing of the past, right? I just don't know if he's going to be more of a running situation type of linebacker. I think he'll be a good linebacker. Like don't get me wrong. I think it could be. He could be like an occasion bird type of mold. I think Kazin is more athletic, but I think they're similar players, right? Where Kazin is not bad in coverage. He's not, say, as it's from coverage as like a Connor Johnson. So I think Whelan might be in more of the mold of a Kazin Bird, which again is a very good linebacker. I just don't know for like consistency in the coverage with that speed. If he's able to do that at this level. Now, obviously, if you have good technique, you have good position, good feel for the game, You can kind of hide that, right? I just worry if he gets isolated on a running back, how that ends. 2019 was a very bad year for us defending the wheel routes. I remember that was a reason why in 2021 we went smaller and quicker at linebacker, and the wheel routes were null and void. So I just have that in the back of my mind. So even though he does have ball skills, I just wonder how that will translate. But regardless, I think we have worst case scenario, a good run and chase linebacker. Then we have Corrick Pierce, 6'1", 200 out of Blanchard. Him and Ross Johnston, to my knowledge, are the first Blanchard players we've had since Carson Smith. So that's a cool fact for the day. He was a safety at Blanchard. Had 118 tackles and 1 pick. Reminded me a lot of. At first, it was more of Chris Pogai, Marlo Hughes Jr. The injuries, man, to Marlo. Because there's similar build. Marlo was a safety coming out of Enid. that made the move down. Again, when I mentioned that the wheel routes were null and void, he was a big reason for that. He was very good in coverage. I can see Corrick doing the same thing, right? I think he could possibly be a better version of Zion Bell, if we're going to be honest, because I thought Zion really, if we're being honest here, if we really take a step back and look at Zion over the past 3 years, you got to admit he was really good in coverage. And you go back to that pick he had against Northwest in the end zone, the play he had against Washburn to force that incompletion, right? Like, I truly think Zion was better in coverage than maybe we gave him credit for. And I think Corrick is along that same mode. I also did see, and again, I want to clarify by saying, these are traits, okay? These are traits. I'm seeing some Jack Puckett traits, and I just want to make that clear. I'm not saying he's Jack Puckett, because I think that'll be Hank. But I'm saying I saw some of the similar traits there in terms of the physicality, the way that he tackles, the energy there. I think this is a guy for sure that you registered. He has to get stronger. He kind of has a similar build to what Hudson Conrad had when he signed out of Mustang. I think will be a solid player for us, especially in coverage. I truly do. I don't think we necessarily missed the Marlo role because Zion was able to up his game there, but we do need that like pure coverage backer, and I think that Corrick Pierce can definitely do that down the road. Moving on to corners, we have E.J. James, 6', 160 out of Muskogee. Tell you right now, it's J.K. Moore with hands. Now I know J.K. had 3 or 4 picks this year, okay? But we also know J.K. dropped his fair share of picks. He has good size already, being 6 foot. He's a receiver, so you know he has the ball skills. Willing tackler. Listen, corners are never the best tacklers unless you're a slot corner or you're like Antoine Winfield. Like you just right, like it's just not. You know, it's like I think Malik Walker was a good tackler for us at corner. I think who else? Maybe Dion Hallman. I don't expect corners to be tackling machines, right? So to me, the fact that he's willing and he at least goes low when he's tackling is good. What I like about him is he's good in both man and zone, right? Because we do use both, and we've seen guys struggle in man and some struggle in zones. The fact that to me, he has the size to do both. He is good at both. You can see sometimes he baits the receivers because he has the makeup speed. I think you redshirt. I think we add some muscle some girth to that frame. I think we have a very high level corner here. I truly do. Looking, then we have Ryan Stewart, 6'4", 185, from Corona, California, San Diego High School, Chaffee Junior College. He's a junior. I think that's the same JUCO that NSU head coach Darren Severini came from. I'm telling you right now, we know we're losing JK. We know we're losing Kobe. I'm telling you right now, listen, I've been critical of Daniel Egwuis for most of last season, right? And I feel like that was justified. I feel like you look at that Washburn game, though, maybe he's turning a corner, because that was the best game that we saw out of Daniel in a Houston uniform. Now you're asking yourself, why am I bringing this up now? Because Daniel is 6'2", he's tall and rangy as well. Ryan Stewart is 6'4". First, we got to admit, 6'4" corners do not grow on trees. And that's just not a thing. Okay? Secondly, this should probably be a day one starter. Okay? This should probably be a day one starter. If you're watching this tape, the hands are not great. Fine. And you're a corner for a reason, right? I think he has a chance, though, to surpass 2019 Daniel Ballman. Daniel Ballman was 6'1.5". He was top 10 in the country in pass breakups that a year. A tall, rangy corner. Ryan Stewart is that to a T. What is most impressive is his fluidity for a corner of his size. Some bigger DBs are very stiff. They have tight hips. That is not Ryan Stewart. He's very good in press man and man coverage in general. We go man. Go back, Fort Hayes, Willie Rice put on a clinic there, right? I think, again, this is why I bring up Daniel. Because if we can throw out a starting corners of Ryan Stewart at 6'4", Daniel Egwuis at like 6'2", and Willie Rice, like the smallest guy at 5'10". I mean that is fantastic. That could be an upper tier corner unit in the conference right there. Okay, so what Ryan brings to me is an immediate JK replacement. I think he matches up extremely well with the receivers that we've seen right in the conference. This is a fair. This honestly might be. This could be one of the most important pickups of the class, because we are losing two starting corners that were very impactful. Right, we know they'll be put on the island, and so getting somebody like Ryan is fantastic. I would be floored if he does not have a significant impact, a significant role on this team this upcoming season. And then we have Tyson Thomas, 5'11", 160, from Ulysses, Texas, Ulysses Trinity High School. 4.5 speed according to Huddle. They did not have any senior tape available, just a few games. So I'm watching his entire junior tape, which is what you are seeing. Plays some safety too. Kind of a mix of Willie Rice and Kobe Stevens. Willie, in terms of the man coverage, I thought was very physical, very good in man. Kobe in zone. Kobe in zone. Kobe was better in zone as a corner than he was at the safety. But he does have balls, because I think he also played some offense too. Willing tackler. He fights all blocks well for his size. Again, this is a guy you redshirt. You get him stronger. I think should be a rotational guy. We do rotate a lot in the secondary. Also, him playing some safety. There's some versatility there too. So he could go back and forth. But I think he's a solid player. I mean, I think, if we get up to 180, I feel confident there. But I really think he'll be a good, solid corner for us. I don't know if he'll be like a high impact guy, but I think as a rotational guy, should have a very good role. Then we have Trevion Williams, 6'1", 190 out of Lawton MacArthur. When I was watching the tape, I saw a lot of Monte Davis. They were similar builds. He has great size and tremendous ball skills. I also think he could play safety. I truly do. With the length and the ball skills, he's good in both man and zone. He has a really good feel for the game. Is it Dylan Buckheit level feel for the game? I don't know, but it's pretty close. The playing style is similar to me to what Daniel brought or brings. Okay, because if you're watching it and you saw Daniel play last year, I hope you're seeing this too, right? Like, it's a similar play style there, a similar build. He tracks the ball well. He does need to tackle better, right? He's going way too high on tackles. We need to go lower. I do appreciate him being willing to tackle, but we got to do it. We got to do it better. I think this could be a high level corner. I truly do. I mean, with that size and ball skills again, I think corner is a position where you need to make sure guys are ready to play, because I truly believe the quarterback, corner, and maybe offensive line in some spots, if you throw a guy out there before he's ready and their confidence is shot, that's the end of it. So I think the ceiling is very high. I think he could even be better than Monte Davis could be. I think he has better ball skills than Monte. But either way, I think this is a very good signing and a very good pickup. Moving on to safety here, we have Matthew, I hope I'm saying his name right, is Shears, 6'1", 180 out of Houston, Texas, by way of Cypress Ranch High School. I'm going to tell you right now, I have not seen a safety that screams O'Shea Harris to me like I have this man. I feel like I was watching a more physical version of O'Shea Harris. O'Shea Harris 2019, no? 2018 was an All-American. Fantastic safety. The exact same build. I think O'Shea might have been 5 pounds heavier by the time he finished. Good size with good ball skills. He blocked the punt on special teams. He's a willing and physical tackler. Very high ceiling. If we're going to be honest here, because we're losing Kobe, we're losing Buckheit, right? We're losing Wyatt Potter. He didn't play a whole lot, but he was still a safety, right? He could force his way into the rotation. Like I just, because again, I go back to Dylan Buckheit in 2019. Now, there was no rhyme or reason for him to be in the rotation, given what we had there. But by game 2, I think it was, game 2 or 3, he was getting burned, and then by the end of the year, the man was starting. I'm not saying Matthew could be starting, but I think it might be very... If he gets to campus and he's indeed showing what he's showing on his high school tape and practice, it might be very hard to keep him off of the field, because I like what he has to offer here. I truly do. I think this is an all-conference caliber guy, and just adds more to Coach Pearson's safety room. Then we have Brian Cooley, 6'1", 185, so literally a O'Shea Harris build right there. From O'Fallon, Illinois, O'Fallon High School, Highland Junior College, or community college. He is a junior. I'm telling you right now, This is a better version of Jakari Hunt. If you were there 2018, 2019, Jakari Hunt, so good. So good. You go back to that Kearney game in 2019, saved the day, when he flew across the end zone to break up a pass on fourth down. 2018, he hit a receiver so hard against Central Missouri, he put the man in a neck brace. Right? We have not had a hitter to that degree. I know Trayvon Craig was a physical defensive back in terms of a pure hitter. We have not had that since Jakari Hunt. I think Brian will be the first because he's a fantastic blitzer, not several sacks, physical downhill attacker. You'd like to see him tackle not as high. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens more times than you would like. I could see him playing a hybrid position similar to what Mosley and Trayvon Craig played. The best way I could describe this, because Jakari was more of a low key, like he just knocked your head off and went back to the huddle, right? It's almost like if you mix that, but with the energy that Jonathan Mosley brought right there. Go back to 2020, 23 when the man was healthy, and you see what the man was doing right there. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting right there, and we need that. Well, we most definitely need that, especially losing J-Mo, losing Kobe back there, right? We definitely need the energy. We need those kinds of guys, and if anything, having Brian can buy time to redshirt Matthew, but I'm very high on this man. I am very high on this man. There's a lot to like. We've had really good luck with JUCO defensive backs in my time covering, aside from Malik Gray. So, like I'm really high on Brian. I think this could be a day one guy. Definitely should be a part of the rotation. Then we have Abner Dubar, 6'2", 190 out of Anna, Texas, Anna High School, Cisco Community College. You're looking at his senior high school tape of 4.51 speed, almost 40-inch vertical according to his huddle page. If that's the case, that might be the best vertical since Josh Crockett. Great size. He played offense, so he has some ball skills. Honestly, reminds me a lot of David Williams. He might be a more athletic version of David Williams, but I was getting that same vibe, just the same feel for the game, just the way that they played the game. It screamed to me David Williams, which is perfectly fine because David will be a senior, and we know the impact David had. Again, go back to NSU, go back to Missouri Western, right? Game-changing plays right there. And then, so I think if we have again, this is another guy that can come in and replace one of the three safeties that we lost. I think this is a guy that, he was a 3-star, signed with Minnesota, then I think left to pursue business ventures, then I think got back into football. If this is the same one I'm thinking of, if that's the case, a tremendous story. But I think he's a solid safety. I think will definitely be in that rotation. Day one contributor right there. Then we have Braden French, 6'1", 190 from Ardmore, Plainview High School. If I had to say, it's a mix of Dylan Buckheit and Trayvon Craig. Like, it's Dylan Buckheit's play style, but with the physicality of Trayvon Craig. And you're seeing some of the tackles that is Trayvon Craig. The play style itself reminds me of Dylan Buckheit. He has really good hands. He was a receiver. He blocked the kick. He's a hard thumper who tackles well. He's more athletic than you think, which is why I made this note, and I'm just quote it word for word. Don't say this lightly, but could be better Buckheit, worst case, more athletic mold of him. That's what I was getting. I was seeing that, and I'm like, this is eerily similar to Buckheit with more explosiveness. right? Like Dylan was more of a technique, being the right spot at the right time type of guy, right? If you're looking at his physical traits, it was not going to jump off at you, right? I think Braden, the athletic ability jumps off at you when you're watching the tape. That's why I kept when they had some of the high school, some of the receivers in there, because I think he does possess more in that regard. He has the size and length that you want right there already at 190. I think down the road could be an all conference guy. I don't see why he couldn't be in the same mode of Buckeye. I truly don't. Everything I'm seeing kind of screams that to me right there. So if that's the case, we are in fantastic shape. Because as we know, Dylan Buckeye was just an absolute gamer. So if we can get that in a more athletic form, it's going to be scary. It's going to be very, 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 very scary. Then we have Jaden Jenkins, 5'11", 182 from Humboldt, Texas, by way of Atascosa High School. This is Trayvon Craig. 100%. This is Trayvon Craig. Even down to the same jersey number of 7. Just he has better ball skills than Trayvon Craig does. Physical tackler, plays with an edge. Enforcer, type of thumper. I want to say he hits harder than Trayvon. Trayvon was a different type of hard hitter. Trayvon was, when he tackled you harder than a standard tackle. To me, a hitter is like Jakari. Like you're going to feel the lick. Like he's coming shoulder first into you. You are going to feel the lick. Trayvon is like, you're going to feel this tackle. But Jakari is, you're going to feel this hit. He hits bigger than a person of his size. Solid tackler. He plays with the edge. There's just a lot to like. There's truly a lot to like. And again, I know we have Jalen Sessions back. We have Braden Waters back. We also have Press Box legend Dalton Hurd back, right? I get that. I truly do. And Dalton Hurd came on really, 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 really strong last year, right? Jalen Sessions had his moments, and we did bring in the 2 other JUCOs, but the tape is so good. The tape is so good. I would like to redshirt him, sure I would, but it might be tough. It might be tough to keep him off the field as a freshman. But I will say, regardless though, the future is very bright. I can see an all-conference level guy here in Jaden Jenkins. Then finally we have Jalen Smith, 5'10", 185 out of Little Rock, Arkansas. By way of Independence Community College, he is a junior. I will say this. If Jaden Jenkins is Trayvon Craig Jr. now, Jalen Smith was Trayvon Craig back in 2019, 2021, because it was really similar. I think Jalen will earn his role day one on special teams. He played on a kickoff unit at Independence right there. I think he will have the same impact for us here. Trayvon, you recall when he was a walk-on, he earned his stripes on special teams, then slowly earned more reps on defense. I think the case could be the same for Jalen. Willing tackler, good hustling effort, fights through traffic well. He plays physical for his size, again, unlike Trayvon Craig at that point in time. A willing tackler, good form tackler too. Then unlike Trayvon Craig. So I think for sure we will see him on special teams. I assume he'd be in the rotation. At least we'll get a look in the rotation. We do play a lot of safeties, right? So he should definitely get an opportunity. I just think maybe his biggest impact might come on special teams. And then finally, the last player is kicker Ethan Spywalk, 6'4", 165 from Carl Albert. The junior tape was the only full season he had on Hurdle, so that is what I watched. He has the Nicky build. We know we're losing Nicky. Inconsistent at times, sure, but was clutch when needed upon, was an All-American for a reason. This ends the, 8-year run of Goudeau as our kicker. I've literally never seen a kicker not named Goudeau kick for us in my time covering. So this will be different. But for Ethan, what I like about him is he gets good height on his kicks, and it's a good motion. It's a quick motion. It's fluid. It's a good follow through. That's very good. At times the blocking on the kicks was not good. Okay, so the quicker we can get those off, I think the better we'll be there. He showed he could hit from both the right and the left hash. That's very good. I think Nicky has some problems kicking from the hashes at times. I'm unsure of the range because the longest kick that was shown was 35 yards, so that's very important too. Can we hit the long ones? Nicky was at least close. I think he had that 45-yarder against Kearney and the 20 mile per hour winds. He had that big kick. Was it about 40 yards against Missouri Western, right? So, we do need where range is also important too. He had several touchbacks on kickoff with roughly 3.5 to 4 seconds of hang time. What was most impressive to me though was at the end he was showing some sky pooch kicks. It's very good. It's very good. He places it right between the return man and the first up man in like a no man's land. I think one or two of them on the film was actually recovered by Carl Albert. I do like that. So worst case, if the range is not great, because I don't know if both these dudes are still here. We had 2 freshmen last year. Okay. So worst case, it could be a kickoff guy. I mean, teams do have a guy for kickoffs and a guy for field goals. So worst case scenario, we have a kickoff artist. That to me is very impressive though, because as you know, last year the kick coverage at times was not good. We had to go to the pooch kick, and remember Nicky did have problems with that. It would bounce out of bounds. It would not take the correct bounce. We had to move Grayson Miller there at that point in time. It got better because he was a punter, and part of punting is getting that proper bounce, right? But with Grayson gone, I think this could create an opening for Ethan day one to come in there and at least be able to execute that at a high level. So overall, I'm very pleased with this class. I think we got better across the board. I think there's a lot to like. I think we've got guys that can come in and make an impact now, where we can redshirt the other guys, and even the guys that I believe could push now that could obviously benefit from a redshirt season might still be able to do that. So I once again have to give the coaching staff full credit, because from top to bottom, this might be the most dynamic, physical, high-level class in the outdoor era, and maybe in my time covering. 2020 was a very good class too, right? But this might be second. And so I really do want to give the staff credit there, and I really cannot wait to see what this class does.